Hey, this is Mrs. Gervasio, and I'm super excited because today is our first YouTube homework. Yay! Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be talking about arrays and factors. An array is a set of objects or symbols in rows or columns to represent a multiplication or division problem. Factors are the numbers you can multiply together to get another number. So the factors of the number 4 are 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. So if I listed those factors in order from least to greatest, it would be 1, 2, and 4. A prime number is a number whose only factors are that number and 1. So if I said, what are the factors of 3, you would have 1 and 3. So that would make 3 a prime number. A composite number is a number that has more than 2 factors. So if you were to figure out what the factors of 4 are, you would have 1 and 4 and then 2. So the number 4 would be a composite number. When looking at arrays, we can tell that this array represents 4 groups of 3. Now we remember that groups of means multiplication. So we have 4 times 3 equals 12 means the same thing as 4 groups of 3 equals 12. This array also represents 3 groups of 4 equaling 12, which is another way of saying 3 times 4 equals 12. Now, believe it or not, this array also represents something else. I know, it's pretty amazing. It means 12 broken into 3 groups equals 4, or 12 divided by 3 equals 4. And it also means 12 broken into 4 groups equals 3, or 12 divided by 4 equals 3. And now if we were to find the factors of 12, the first thing to do is to start with the 1. So we would make an array of one group of 12, and that's what it would look like. Then we would move on to the 2, and we would break 12 up into 2 groups, and that would be 2 groups of 6. Then you move on to the 3, and you would have 12 broken up into 3 groups, and that would be 3 groups of 4. And you move on to the 4, and you realize that that would be 4 groups of 3. Now we have talked about the commutative properties, and that means that's a fancy way of saying turnaround facts, and 3 times 4 and 4 times 3 are commutative properties. Those are turnaround facts. So we actually do not need to write the 4 times 3 because we already have those factors listed. And then we go ahead and we put them in order from least to greatest. And our factors in order from least to greatest are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. See? Not difficult at all. Really, really not difficult. Very nice, very nice. And if you remember before, we were talking about prime and composite numbers. A prime number is a number whose only factors are that number and the number 1. A composite number is a number that has more than 2 factors. So that being said, is the number 12 prime or composite? Yay! It's composite. Good job. Now let's go ahead and find the factors of 13 by creating different arrays. So remember, you always start with the 1, the identity property. 1 times 13 equals 13. Then you move on to the 2. And we have 13 broken into 2 groups, which is, we can't do that. We have an uneven array, so we cannot do that. So 2 is not a factor of 13. So we cross 2 off because it is not a factor of 13, and we move on to 3. And we have the same problem there. We have an uneven array, so 3 is not a factor of 13 either. And you keep going and you keep going until you get to a turnaround fact. Now, to save time, I'm going to tell you that 13 doesn't have any other factors. That's it. So that being said, is 13, the number 13, is that a prime or a composite number? Yay! Composite number. I'm sorry, prime number. It is a prime number. Good job. Alright, now I want you to go ahead and find the factors of 14 using the different arrays. Pause me, and then after you're finished, come on back and check your work. Okay, you've paused me and you've come back. And this is what your work should look like at the end. So we realize that 3, 4, 5, and 6 are not factors of 14, and then we would actually start doing turnaround facts, or the commutative property, down here. So we didn't need to do that since we already had 7 as a factor up here. And then listing them in order from least to greatest, we would have 1, oops, sloppy handwriting, as usual, 1, 2, 7, and 14. Now, with the number 14, is that going to be a prime or a composite number? Yay, you got it right again, a composite number, because it has more than 2 factors. Perfect. Now comes the actual write it down and bring it to class tomorrow part of your homework. I want you to go ahead and find the factors of 16. You'll need to create the different arrays to find each factor. List the factors in order from least to greatest, and then tell me whether it is a prime or a composite number. You will also have to do the same thing for the factors of 17. You'll need to create different arrays to find each factor. List the factors in order from least to greatest, and then tell me whether it is a prime or a composite number. Okay, all of this needs to be done on a clean piece of paper, and I should be able to read it. Okay, so for tonight's homework, you have 2 multi-step problems that you need to work out on a clean piece of paper, and then bring that paper to class. That's it. It's that simple. And please, 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 please look back at the tutorial. Please look back at the tutorial if you get stuck. That's the whole point of flipping our class, okay? Oh my, okay, yep, so that definitely means that our time is up and you get to go do your first YouTube homework problem. So yay, have fun, and I will see you tomorrow. Make sure to give me lots of feedback, what you liked and what we need to improve on. Have a great night.